Hey
Adam,
Joe,
here.
how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy.
So here we are. Escape Room Tournament of Champions is finally here, and this time it's the games aren't just in the escape rooms; they can take place anywhere. Can you tell me about how the escape rooms are elevated this time around?
Yeah, I love what you say because the game has definitely expanded. Minos has been hard at work, but like what I love about this movie is that anywhere you go, anybody you talk to, like what is reality? There is no spoon. Like the game can be anywhere, the puzzles are anywhere, and the idea that there's this Machiavellian force like controlling every single choice we make, I think is a really scary one, particularly coming out of a pandemic where we all feel like we've
Right.
lost all agency over our lives. So yeah, and look, I mean, we tried to really outdo ourselves with the rooms and the set pieces. You have a train car in New York City that derails and turns into a Tesla coil. You have a giant Cape Cod beach that swallows people whole. So we really tried to raise the bar and then have some really cool twists along the way. Like the game from the first movie was just happening there, but there were games happening all over the world. And they're really bored rich people who are just out to punk us.
I'm a big fan of the first escape room, mainly because I'm a big escape room enthusiast. But like what you guys created with that and the set pieces that you did with the first one, and on this second one, whoo boy, you guys really opened it up. And I want to talk about that because your production designer Edward Thomas did a brilliant job of making these beautiful sets that can kill you. So out of all the set pieces that you guys had, which one was your favorite?
I mean, I would still say candidly that the billiard room is still my favorite from the first movie. They were all really hard. I mean, I'll tell you the hardest part of it is like we used fire, gravity, gas
Right.
in the first movie, like everything that can kill you, we've already used. So like on this one, and by the way, it's PG-13, so we couldn't rely on gore or reverse bear trap or anything like that. So yeah, it was like the train I thought was really cool because it's like you find a cool space that people can relate to, whether it's a train, okay, electricity, third rail. The bank was a really cool Art Deco location we found in Cape Town.
I think the beach is super cool. I love the beach.
The beach is pretty rad. It was the hardest set to shoot because it was all practical. We had 22,000 pounds
Oh
of sand.
wow.
You're aerating the sand so that people can sink. Actors are getting sand in their eyes, scratching their corneas. It smelled like a dead crustacean. So it was super challenging. Like all the set was on a hydraulic, so it could be lowered into the sand as
Oh
as we went
wow.
along. And so yeah, each one. Look, we had a water tank. Logan Miller is in this water tank, like a freezing cold, brackish water. There's like a little bit of tempered glass keeping this massive tidal wave from killing my entire crew. So it was definitely challenging. Yeah, but we always say that, like you said, they're beautiful spaces that kill people. Like I like the idea that Minos is sort of like the Johnny Ives behind Apple
Right.
design. They're taking their time. They're like that beautiful poster you have on your wall. It's like they're picking out every single piece of thing that you see. And Ed Thomas is the guy who does that. There's a magazine in the motel room that's called Ceiling, right? So when the ceiling comes down, it's like there's all these Easter eggs that the audience can find and kind of have fun talking about.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, look, Zoe played by Taylor Russell. She hasn't solved the biggest puzzle yet, and that's who's behind Minos and trying to stop them. And we pick up right where we left off with Ben and Zoe, kind of like trying to discover things. But what can you tell me about their characters this time around, and the relationship this time around that we see in the film?
Yeah, I mean, I love the arc of Zoe's character. When we meet her in movie one, she's so mouseish. She can barely leave her dorm
Yeah.
room. She takes a huge risk to go to this game that she thinks is going to get her out of her shell. And the poor thing is like put through the ringer. But what I love about Zoe is she's so smart. This is kind of a nerd power movie in a way, and it's the brains that win. And she and Ben, like Ben's a bit of a schlub, right? Like at the beginning of the first movie, he's a bit
Right.
of an alky and is smoking, and he's in the back of a grocery store, a liquor store, working, and. So, but they've come together and they've forged this friendship, and I think Zoe's character is so much stronger than the first movie in a sense that she's kind of gone like full Ripley, but she goes like full Ripley by the end of the second movie. She's ready to turn the mother, she's ready to gas the whole place, and so I think that's a fun kind of again, it's a popcorn movie. but it's this heart of this relationship. Ben really probably has a crush on her. I don't know if it's requited or not, but he's there for her. He thinks she's a bit, she's like Lois Lane going into the Viper's Den again. And they're really out on a limb because nobody believes them. That
Right.
sense of isolation and loneliness, and that when you only have one person in the world who knows what you're going through, I think that inherently bonds you.
Well, Adam, look, I love this film. I think it kind of breaks out of the horror genre, and it's really a psychological thriller. And I was on board every step of the way. So, Adam, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for saying so. Appreciate it.
Thank you.